Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome along to GRL. It's Season 5. It's 2024, and we are back for a brand new season of the Ground Effect Racing League. We are in Bahrain for the, what you would call the new typical season opener. It will be the season opener for a while to come yet. And it's a bit of tradition then. We are going to be starting at Bahrain, as of course we will start in real life in only in about a month and a half's time, would you believe it, for the 2024 Formula 1 World Championship. But I'm delighted to say that I'm joined this evening, as hopefully will be for most of the season, by Mr. Ashley Silent Thief. Good evening, Ashley. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks. I'm very happy to be here. I've been given this spot permanently now, so it should be you and me for the entire season. So I hope, anyway. But yeah, no, happy to be here as always.
Yeah, I mean, unless Asim just becomes another tyrannical leader again and just, rips everything to shreds. Yeah, we should be fine together for most of the season. Here's the calendar, though. We'll start at Bahrain. We're going to Singapore next week and Japan the week after, all the way through towards Abu Dhabi and Brazil at the start of May. Of course, giving us ample time before the new game will come out, probably around June, probably with lots of bugs and probably not working until the following March. But that is how the season will look. We'll have a quick look at the prize pool, of course, new for this season, Division 1. The champion of Division 1 will get themselves 15 Spondoolies, P2 £10 and P3 £5. So we'll have to see if that affects any driving from some of the guys, but we'll wait and see. But we're at Bahrain, of course. A season opener. We've last time we raced it was last season. Michael Dale was the winner. Drazzy in Div 2 took the win. Corey in Div 3, or Banjo, Dazza, which seems weirdly close to my name, and Ace Guy in 4, 5, and 6 were your winners. But it's going to be interesting today. We've got some newer drivers in Division 1. I mean, we're a few minutes into qualifying. The first runs have been done nearly halfway through qualifying, but most of the drivers are in the pit lane or on outlaps at the moment. But we've got the likes of B Ford in the session. We have got Snipes. Of course, reigning champion Snipes. He's currently in the McLaren. He chose the McLaren, mind you. But we'll have to see how they all stack up. I think there's some interesting teams there, isn't there, actually?
And I'm going to be keeping my eye on these Mercedes too. Obviously, there is B Ford, runner-up last year, champion the year before, and he has got a nice, fresh teammate alongside him. He's our good friend Rob, and I know that he can be quick as well. So I've got my eyes firmly fixed on this Mercedes outfit, especially for constructors as well, but absolutely there are some teams in there that are not to be reckoned with. So it will be interesting as the season progresses, but I'm going to just quickly count back to what you just said. Spondoolie Star, is that the word you want to go with, is it?
It's the word we're going to go with. It's fun. I think I probably got that off my dad or something, but yeah.
No, it's fine. It just caught me off guard a bit. I was like, oh, there we go, that's a word for you. But no, you are quite right, and I had no idea that was a thing either. So prize pool then, that sounds should heat up the championship somewhat, as they are playing for a little bit extra than just the pure honour of winning. So maybe B4 will up his game in the earlier parts of the season this year, but that remains to be seen. The point is, it's round 1. Qualifying is wrapping up shortly. 7 minutes to go still, though, and we're yet to see, I think, the full speed of some of these drivers out there, such as last year's champion Snipes, and also as well as the Mercedes here of B40. He puts it into P9 for the time being, but I think there could still be some lap time to come here from a lot of these drivers. What do you think, Dara?
Yeah, no, there's definitely time to find. Corey's got an incredibly fast time with a 27.7. I don't know where that's come from particularly, but he looks very good for now. But no, there are a few guys here that you'd expect to be further up. Snipes being one of them, Rob Kelly as well. I mean, he may not be perfect in qualifying, but he is the race merchant of all race merchants as Jobbo goes up into P2. That's the thing. Sorry, that's a very good lap time from Jobbo, 28 flat.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, the Mercedes team is definitely one to watch from the races. They are two absolute die-in-the-hard race merchants. And I'm quite excited to see how they get on together, because it's a very good team lineup at Mercedes, and I think they could really be a very strong contender for the championship. Same can be said at McLaren. Jobbo, not a sluggish driver, and Snipes, of course, reigning champions. We've definitely got some constructors' battles that we can keep an eye on throughout the season, and I'm definitely looking forward to them. I was going to say, actually, that, yeah, you were mentioning B Ford. With the prize money, you could probably buy some stuff on iRacing with that £15. I know he's transitioned quite a bit onto iRacing, and it's a bit of a you got to pay for quite a bit on iRacing, don't you? So I'm sure that'll probably go into paying for a couple of tracks, maybe Daytona,
No, he could buy
Laguna
one
Seca.
track. I could tell you from experience, Darren, it's one track. That's
It's
probably all
only
you'll
one,
get for it.
really?
Yeah,
Oh.
it's quite expensive. I won't lie to you all. It's quite an expensive thing to get into. I did try it myself, and I somewhat failed and gave up in a way. But I was thinking about jumping back in. But enough about me. We'll continue this action on the track, I suppose. Hey, I'm just running on board here with Delta, Corey's teammate, yet to set a lap. He's just about to finish his flying run. So it'll be interesting to see where the Aston Martin will end up. It's P15 for the time being, so quite a drastic difference there between teammates as well. Nearly a second gap looking at it, but yeah, there's quite a gap between a few of these teammates, isn't there? The two Ferraris looking quite spaced out as well. The two McLarens, even when you look at it, the Mercedes there of Rob and B4, they are fairly spread out at the second. So, yeah, interesting to see what it's going to be when that checkered flag falls. Still 5 minutes left then for this Bahrain qualifying, the first round of the season. And we've got 29 laps to come thereafter. But for the circuit layout itself, it's 15 corners, 9 to the right and 6 to the left, with, I've got it down here as 3 DRS zones. I'm pretty sure it is 3. 5.412 kilometres or 3.36 miles, depending on what side of the pond you hail from. As I am watching Delta just make his way for that tricky turn 10, but I think he's going to be on an in-lap this time by.
Yeah, Knockers comes up into P11, but there are some tight times already. I mean, you're looking at a quarter of a second splitting 3rd through 13th. A few drivers, I'm surprised they're down. I mean, you're looking at Snipes down in P17 at the moment. Not a driver you'd expect to see near the bottom of the order, but yet we do see him there at the moment. Rob Kelly, I'm sure, has got some more time in that lap. For that, I have no doubt. I cannot imagine him being 6/10 off Jobbo in terms of pace. And if he's listening, come on, get your arse in together, Rob. We need a good lap time from you. I mean, there's lots of drivers here that I think on the final runs might be be able to put in a bit of a surprise because jump up a few positions. I mean, you're looking at the likes of Sivertson in P6 in the Ferrari. He could jump up 3 spots by improving by less than half a tenth of a second. So there really isn't much in this for quite a lot of the drivers, and I think these final runs are going to be quite interesting.
Yeah, we've got all but one out on track, as in they're all in the pits. One is out on the track, and that's Naka. He's definitely making his way into the pits as well. So we're about to get the final showdown then for this pole position and the grid order for the race coming shortly. But yeah, you are quite inclined to agree with you. A lot of these drivers, well, as well as the fact that a lot of these guys I can remember from actually Div 3 and Div 2, and they've all made their way up here into Div 1, but it seems very, close together, the sort of skill between all of them. They've clearly proven and shown their worth and made it here to Div 1. I'm interested to see what it's going to be like at the end of the checker flag for the race and see, where people are sort of in order of things, where people are. And yeah, I'm very excited to see how this goes because there's a lot of new faces, there's a few that I am unfamiliar with, but there is also a lot that I have become fairly acquainted with now, doing this for the last sort of 6 months or so, maybe a bit longer than that now that I think about it. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens at the checker flag, but I'm not going to wish the race away because obviously we want to see some action between now and then, of course.
We do. I mean, it's a late start, isn't it? I mean, I know for you it's a quarter to 10. I mean, for me it's a quarter to 9. So we got something. Words, Darren. Word. We've got to have something to keep us awake. There we go. They were the words I was looking for. Yeah. So hopefully, I mean, it's Bahrain. It's one of the best circuits to race against another driver on the calendar. I mean, you look at other tracks, maybe Kota, Brazil is one of them, but there aren't many tracks better for racing than the Bahrain International Circuit. I mean, endurance racing, I'll put my neck on the line here. I genuinely think that Bahrain produces some of the best endurance racing of them all. So it's a fantastic track, and hopefully we'll get some good racing. There's 20 cars out on track. We'll have 20 cars hitting the checkered flag in one way or another, whether they'll be facing the right way by the end of the lap or not. But the first man is going to be Assume Basher. Let's see what he can do on his lap.
Well, the thing that's interesting me, just before we do get fully underway for the final runs of everybody, is anyone going to be tripping over each other? I'm looking at the map. There's a couple of drivers within within a few car lengths of each other as they're making their way round. So you're gonna see a couple of them backing up into each other. You'd imagine by the time they get to that final corner, ready to start their final runs. So it'll be interesting to see who does get caught out by that. But Asim Basha making his way towards the end of Sector 1. Let's have a look at the sector times. He's currently 2 tenths down on his from his best lap, so he's got it all to do then in Sectors 2 and 3. Through the hairpin, lovely little right-hander, dips down, but the banking does save it somewhat, makes it nice and easy to hook it up. And then you've got the tricky turn 10, braking and turning all at the same time. Very easy to lock a wheel as you go in and run it wide because of that as well. But then to the back straight, and then you've got a fairly easy run to the flag from here. A couple of corners, but they're not too difficult in my personal opinion. I don't know about you, Dara.
No, I mean, I quite like this last sector to drive. It's a nice flowing turn 13 to get yourself onto this penultimate little straight. Cole's retired. He's on a Mazepin on the exit of turn 3
done a
there.
Mazepin.
Yeah, it's impressive, to be fair. Into the final corner comes between Basher, of course. It opens out nicely on the exit. It's technically it's officially 2 corners. It's realistically just one swooping right. And Assume Basher will jump up to P10, but it'll be ruining the fact that there definitely was time left in that lap for him. BRT Jordan jumps up to 9th, leapfrogs, and puts himself in the top 10 for now. We'll keep an eye on the others coming across the line. Oh, Sivertson is going to go up to P3. Willow. Yeah, I saw that just as I was trying to change.
Spun it.
Jacob P15 only. That's an improvement for Welsh Jack, but not enough to tip Sivertson, and he will stay P4. Slapbus jumps up into P9 as well. I am just watching the tower, seeing who we get before we see Hops come to the line. Rob Kelly's retired. Rob Kelly's going to start P19, if not P20 here, which is a surprise. We'll have to see what he can do in the race. We've got a Williams running up to the line. I think it's Gibson. He goes P7. Hops in the end goes P5, just about sneaks into the 27s. We've got Dylan Baxter going P4, 27.6, but we'll have a look at Conts. No, we won't, because he's coming into the pit lane, so he won't be improving. Corey, he's surely got a shoe-in for pole position here. Can he go any faster? Beeford went 10th, and Corey, 27.7 flat. We'll easily see in there. Partick jumps up to P17, which means we will see Rob Kelly at the bottom of the order. We've got Snipes, who won't be improved, and Delta. Yeah, so there we go. So Snipes and Rob Kelly, 18th and 20th. That is not something I thought I'd see.
No, it's really not. I was expecting better, really, from the both of them. Bigging up the Mercedes before we really got fully into the qualifying session ourselves. And, P18 from the reigning champ. That is not a good way to start off your next campaign. And it's going to be a tricky race for him to come as well. So, be interesting to see what happens when we get going green, as there's quite a few guys down the bottom there that I would expect to be further up the grid. So they're going to have to really fight their way through it to make the best of it. But well done to Corey, though. Comes into Div 1 and takes the first pole position of the season as well. So congratulations to him. And he's done it by nearly 2 tenths of a second. Look at that, Dara. It's quite a big gap between 1 and 2 there.
Yeah, it's an incredible lap time, to be fair. We'll have to see what people are saying in the chat, if anything, and nothing of any importance, quite frankly. So, Jobbo's saying that Rob needs to up the pace for ETC, so they're teammates. That's a little bit of friendly banter, isn't it, down at McLaren? But yeah, it's a good lap from Jobbo as Corey leads the way, and it's a tight field. I mean, it's less than a second covering all of them, and it's only half a second, covering the top 14. So it really is a tight field. If we get some clean racing, we're probably going to get some trains here. But 29 laps of Bahrain. What can happen in this one then?
Well, you did say, Derek, you've hailed it as the best track for racing, side by side specifically. So will it hold true? I wonder. We'll have to wait and see to find out. I would say a good shout out for that though is somewhat, maybe a bit of British bias here, but Silverstone, you got to put it out there. I think that's a very good track for side-by-side action. It has been able to provide that over the years, but I will somewhat agree with you for here, Darren. Yeah, you've definitely got the ability to go side by side through a lot of these corners here for Bahrain. So hopefully that's what we'll see. They do have a lot of wide entries into corner, which does enable the fact that you can go side by side, and see some lunges as well. But I'll give you a little rundown then. From pole to turn one, the braking point at least, you've got 353 meters. What do you think that's going to do in terms of if anyone can get a better start than someone else? Do you think that's going to enable the lunge, Dara? Is that enough distance to get their nose in, or not enough in your books?
Well, this is a lungy turn one, isn't it? I mean, it's up there with Monza in terms of lungy turn ones. It's not quite China, where it's you kind of just got to have a bit of a game of what's the word? What's the game? Oh,
Cat and mouse.
Cat and mouse, there we go, thank you, that's exactly what
Yeah,
I was
you
thinking
got
of.
it.
Yeah, there you go, thank you. Game of cat and mouse around there, but no, here is, you put your foot on the brakes, and you hope you don't get any damage into turn one, quite frankly. If you get through turn one and turn four, you're happy generally, because you've got your front wing intact and you can carry on in the race, but it's a dangerous turn one, you can have a lunge. I mean, it's by no means, it's not a Baku into turn one, but then again, Baku has had its fair share of moments into turn one, hasn't it? So, we'll have to see if anyone can get the jump on Corey. I think it's going to be important. We don't know whether Corey's one lap pace is stronger than his race pace. He hopes, well, obviously he will hope that his race pace is strong. But you've got to think of the likes of Beeford. I mean, I know he's slightly further down the order, but he's got such pedigree in GRL. I mean, he's a champion and a runner-up in 2 consecutive seasons, and that totals nearly, if not more than 40 races where he's been right up there. So he really, really is one to watch in this one. But who do you think's going to win, Ashley?
Oh, it's a good question. I'm trying to remember the grid, if I'm being completely honest with you now. Can I have a quick look at the race director? I'm going to have a quick look here. Who have we got then in the top? It completely scuppered my mind and went. I can have a quick cheeky look at what tyres people are going for here as well. There you go. Well, you've got Welsh Jack up there. He qualified P5. Obviously, the pole man himself. I do have a little bit of experience here with Corey, being from CRL, but also down Division 3, I believe, is where he has come from. Maybe he got up to Division 2 as well. I'm not sure. But either way, I know his race pace can actually be fairly good as well. So, I mean, he's qualified on we had the fastest lap. I know his race pace is not bad. I know it's pretty quick, so anything can happen from there. So I'd say Corey's got arguably the best shout, but equally I know Naka, he can pull out a performance when he needs to as well. So it's hard to say. I think my money is on the pole man though, because I know he can do it. I've seen him do it. But you have got the likes of Welsh Jack up there with him, and we've seen him do it before as well. So yeah, tricky to say obviously, but we're going to gauge the pace of the field after this first race, and I think then we can safely say with a little bit more confidence as we go deeper into this season. To give you that's the long-winded answer, Dara. I think Corey's my man. To give you the shortened one, it's still Corey.
What was the short answer? It was so short that I missed it.
There you go. It was Corey.
Corey. Oh yeah, okay.
Man.
Cool. Corey's your answer.
I think he's got the pace to do it as well.
I am going to say, I've forgotten who in the top 5 is and I'm too scared to go on to it. I'm going to go with, you know what, I'm going to stick to my gun. I'm going to say B Forge from P10 wherever he is. I'm going to go for it. I think he's going to do it.
You know what, I think he was further down than 10. Where was he? He's 11. You know what though? I'm going to actually Willow. He's changed. Is it Avenicus? Has he changed his name, or is that me not remembering the right thing?
No, Willow is. No.
Willow's someone completely different. I'm not 100% sure.
I don't know.
I could be completely wrong and absolutely making up porky pies here.
It's so much easier in sim racing when people have their real names.
I know. They have their real names. It does make life a lot easier. But, well, Willow, if it is who I think it is, I know he's got pace. So, him and B Ford, maybe we see them climb the ladder. But I'll let you take over here, Darren. Oh, where you are.
We'll have to see if they can climb the ladder. 5 red lights are out and we are underway then here for the season opener here at Bahrain. Corey gets a good start off of the line, but they are still too thick all the way in towards turn 1. We'll move the camera back a little bit as we see 3, maybe even 4 wide. They all just about squeeze their way through that opening corner. I actually think that's one of the more well-mannered turn 1s at Bahrain that I've seen in quite a long time. We've got, oh, maybe not, as we have as we have Knocker out of the race. Gibson's at the back, and we have a safety. I spoke. Oh, it's my fault. I'm sorry, guys. It's my
No,
fault
you
there.
spoke too soon. Commentator's curse, as always, Darren. It normally happens when you say it. Not necessarily just you, but in general. And yeah, I had the probability actually of a safety car is 63%. So it already came true. But I don't know who or what has caused that. But I saw Gibson and flying off towards Mazepin's barrier. So I don't know if that was just a coming together and the car's just absolutely losing it with the minimal contact, because I can tell you from experience that can happen. It cost me a race win, I can tell you that for sure. So I wasn't very happy on that occasion, but it's easily done. You just snag a wheel just a little bit too much and it fires the cars off in the wrong direction, and before you know it, you've lost the wheels and you're hopping out the car, or in this situation you're throwing the controller around the room. So it can happen, and we just saw it did. So here we are, safety car on lap 1 of the season. What do we make of that, Dara?
I mean, yeah. What can you say? Jobber's just said that Hops has overtaken him under safety car, so that's an interesting one. No one's going to come into the pit lane. Little dummy there from Corey, or maybe some people might. At the back, they might have got any damage, but the majority won't, I don't think. Slapbus really to the... Don't know what's happening there, I think...
Oh, I've just seen it swap it back.
Oh, yeah, they're trying to give the position back. I think they're trying to give the position back here.
Yeah, I think they're trying to sort that out.
I think if he just goes off, if Hops just goes off the track, then that'll work. But he's on the track at the moment, so it won't work. Anyway, point is, Rob Kelly's up to P17, B4's up to 8th. That's 3 of 10. He ticked off at turn 1, so you never know. It could be on.
Yeah, it definitely could be. I want to just hail the magnificent start that Sivitson got from that in the Ferrari. I saw him go round the outside of Kont, and is that how you pronounce that? Because that sounds almost very wrong. Kont? I'm going to go Kont. It's Kont now. But yeah, he had a fantastic start round the outside of the man in P2 at the time, and he's straight onto the back of Corey in the Aston Martin. So he had a wonderful start there. I think he came from 4th on the grid. And immediately got 2 cars in the braking zone down at turn 1. So brilliant start from the Ferrari, exactly what he wanted to do. Again, back to the restart, I think Jack had a pretty good look at it. I saw him did make a position up into sort of turn 1, 2 and 3. But then I think by the time we got to the top of the hill, turn 4, I think Baxter managed to get it back. So yeah, I think that's a good start though from Jack, to be honest. He's got his front wing still, and he hasn't lost anything, so long way to go, and he can definitely make some moves. But good start for B Ford. He's up into 8th there. That's a brilliant start from him, actually.
It is. It's a good start. I don't know how there's so many position changes. I don't know why people are overtaking him. No. Oh, goodness me, guys, it's not difficult. Come on, rocket science is not safety cars, but as it is, we're still on the safety car. It should come in the end of this lap, and then we will get back underway on lap 3. But interesting that Willow started on a medium. Of course, Gibson's gone on to a medium, so he's got free reign, really. But Willow is the only driver that started on a medium and still is on a medium. So that could be interesting. But, he's going to have to bit earlier, you'd have thought, unless he's going for a medium soft. But an undercut might work here, especially if there are large trains.
Well, it definitely could play out that way, and I'd argue actually he's now probably on the favourable strategy. The safety car is going to be helping the tyre wear for him, so he can go deeper on that medium if he needs to. But like you just said, oh no, are you able to invite Jack back maybe? Or I don't know, he's disconnected. Welsh Jack.
A Welsh Jack. Ooh,
yeah, try and get him back in before the safety car is in. But going back to the point of Willow, he's on that medium tyre. He really needs to put it to good use then at this restart and take advantage of the extra grip that he will have over his competitors, all of them opting for that harder compounder tyre. And like you said, Tara, I think with the undercut being an option very much for him, he has got that chance to to use that to full effect. And like you say, if there's trains forming, then he could well break out of that cycle and get the advantage in this race. So I'd keep an eye on him, especially when we get into the latter stages, to see where he crops out in all of this. Once it's all sorted itself after the pit stop phase, we can really see what the finishing positions will somewhat be. But Willow, I'd say he's actually got a really good shot at this now. He's the only one that's on the alternative strategy, and if he can put those mediums to good use, then I think he'll be very much laughing all the way to the checkered flag. But yeah, safety car is in. That means Corey will take the pace now of the pack, of the grid. So they all have to conform to what he dictates the pace to be. Rounding the final corner, so when that safety car is in to the pit lane, he can go whenever he likes. It looks as though he already has gone. They're back under green now once again. Down the start finish straight. Has Corey caught Silvertson napping, or has he timed it just right? I think for the moment we're holding very much station. There's a McLaren. I think that's them all getting past Welsh Jack as he tumbles further down the grid. Unfortunately, he is not here in the actual lobby himself. He did have that disconnect. The two Alpines then, they're looking very feisty at front there, weaving left and right as that's Jordan running it very deep. He's going to lose a couple of positions for it. Lucky for B4, he didn't go into the back of him as they now make their way towards the end of Sector 1 in towards Sector 2. A couple of S's before we get to the hairpin. That's a little tag from Jordan into the back of the Red Bull that managed to get past him. And I think now the train is starting to form as the drivers are beginning to sort of take their positions in it. But I say that as it's mayhem by the looks of it coming out of turn 10. That was a Red Bull running very wide. But I don't think any positions have been gained or lost from it. So for the moment, things are holding fairly much station. As there's a big tank slapper from Willow. Never mind. He's round. He's facing the wrong way. He hasn't lost an end plate or a tyre, which is good, thankfully. But being that he was the only one on that medium tyre and he's now at the back of the grid, that's his race very much scuppered, unless he's lucky with a safety car later on. But yeah, that's not what he needed this afternoon, is it?
No, not at all. And it's not a perfect race. I mean, where do you say Willow was going to finish, by the way? Just for reference.
I didn't say he was going to finish. I thought he was going to do well, but well, now he's not. So
well, that's not gone ideally
Dara.
well.
Thank
yeah,
you very
no.
much.
Rob Kelly's going to get through on. Oh, was Rob in this? No, Rob is in this session. He was just getting through the AI car. I did invite Welsh Jack, but sadly he's not been able to get back in. Jacob's in the pit lane, but yeah, Corey still leads the way, but there is still that train all the way down to P16 if you discount the fact that Welsh Jack, of course, will drop out of that as he is not in the session. But it's going to be interesting just to see. It's going to be a bit of cat and mouse. It's going to be tight as they run their way through these opening laps. I think by the time they get to the pit stop phase, we might see a couple more overtakes. We might see some strategy come into play from a few of these guys. But for now, only lap 5:29, and realistically, only racing lap 2. I think we're going to wait to see some moves. Hops, though, looks like he's keen to get through on Jobbo, but he won't be able to do it down into turn 11. It's a tricky place there. But if anything was to happen between those two, Beeford, I'm sure, will be lapping it up to try and get those positions.
Yeah, he's hot on the heels, really, isn't he, of this little group? I mean, they're all a group, but, you know, him particularly, he's sort of almost got the gap back to the slap bus. In the Red Bull there, as Hops makes the move on Jobbo for P5 into the penultimate corner, and I think he's very much got that cemented. DRS out in activation. That means they can open that little flap in the rear of the car, give him an extra boost of speed down the straights with the DRS zones, of course. That's Jobbo. He's going to look to go round the outside. He'll have the inside line, then full cut back up to the hill and towards the rise of it over to the top. And I think, yeah, Hops has just managed to hold out on that occasion. But let's keep an eye on Beeford then. He's going to be watching all of this unfold in front of him. Has he potentially got enough pace to get alongside that McLaren and take advantage of the situation? It doesn't look as though it's going to happen this time by. He settles in back behind. Just looking a little bit further down there. That's Slapbus and Delta. Or Delta? I'm going to go Delta. What would you rather, Dara? Delta? I can't make my mind up.
Delta, yeah, Delta. GSR
Delta
Delta.
makes a bit more sense, doesn't it? He's looking very feisty at the behind that Red Bull. He wants to make a move, but interestingly, the two out front, they've almost got the gap back to those Alpine duo.
They have, and I mean, Alpine have been strong for a couple of seasons now. Just in general, there's been different drivers in that car. I mean, it was Welsh Jack and Snipes in that car last season, but I believe they were the constructors' champions, so they were very much a force to be reckoned with, and they are again this season. I mean, we've got, of course, with our team principals that we have. I know that Alpine, as a whole team, will be pleased to see this performance so far. Of course, all the points count towards the overall Constructors' Championship. So, I think it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out, how it all works out for them. But it seems that it's been a good couple of picks down at Alpine for this Division 1 team. Gibson's doing the Williams. Goodness me, I saw Williams, I thought Gibson. No, it's not Gibson. But I believe it's Wargasm, who is in the Alpine. No, it's the Red Bull. Oh no, I've forgotten. Oh god, it's not great, is it? I've forgotten who the team principal is.
It's Atom.
Is it Atom?
Sorry, the team principal. I'm not. No, I was looking at the driver lineup. Sorry, no, Baxter and Atom are the drivers. I'm not sure who the team principal is. It has to be said. I don't know. It'd be nice to hear a bit more from them actually this season, maybe, because I mean, last season for myself, especially, I don't really know who the team principals are. So it'll be interesting to get their sort of views on how the season goes, of how they think they're doing. But maybe it doesn't matter too much. I don't know. It is mainly driver focused, isn't it? But might be interesting to see.
Yeah, I think it's Pat Peter. No, it is right. No, it's Pat Peter. I think who's the Alpine team principal. He gave me a chance to find out who it was there. So yeah, no, thank you for that. But yeah, so with the team principals, they're going to be watching this, thinking, or they might not be watching it. They might be in the race, or they just might not be too fussed. But they're going to be thinking about hopefully trying to get their team to the top of the constructors' championship by the end of the 17 races in start to mid-May at Abu Dhabi. So it all adds up in the end, and a good first race can really put you on the right foot when it comes to trying to have a good run throughout the season. Are we going to be looking at a move here from Delta? I think we are, to the inside of Slapbus. He's going to take that line. Slapbus is going to try the up and under, though. He'll have a bit of an up and under through turn 2 as well, and have the run out towards turn 4. A little up and under through turn 3. Is it going to be the same at turn 4? I'm not too sure that it will be. We'll slot back into line, nearly hitting the back of the Aston Martin there, but Delta pulls off that move for P9 in the train, which is well done by him, and we still have that train for the top 16.
We do. It was a good move there by Delta. He definitely had the overspeed down the start, finish straight on Slapbus, and for a moment I thought he was going to come right back at it and take that position away from Delta. But yeah, like you say, it was very well done to not actually go into the back of him in that braking zone. So no, well done by the two of them for the overtaking and defending, and yeah, brilliant to see them not make contact. So that's good racing from the two of them for the time being, and hopefully it will stick throughout. I'm sure it certainly will do. Just having a look here at B4 once again. Last year's runner-up, he's sitting just about 4/10 the gap between him and Jobbo, but very much everyone is in this train, so all of them have that DRS in activation once they get to the zones, and it does mean then all of them have that opportunity to open the rear flap in the rear wing, get a little bit of burst of speed. But if the guy in front of it has you as well, it means that really the guy behind, his little advantage that he would normally get is null and void. However, B4 is looking very close indeed on the McLaren. Is he going to make a last minute lunge? Not this time for the moment. Sticks in behind, but it doesn't mean to say that the move is over. You can very much play it out and strategize the way you do this move in this first sector, as 1, 2 and 3 very much follow into 4 quite nicely, especially if you can set it up well. But no, he's still stuck behind that McLaren for the time being, so I'm sure he's thinking about other ways that he can maybe get past.
I'm sure he will, and that's going to be a spin for Cole as well down at turn 4. I think Welshnak is back in his car, but he will get back into the race just behind Cole, who I think is just going to keep himself in front. In fact, he will as they run through. There were a couple of moments there from Corey. Down into turn 1 went very, very deep there. So he's not infallible. He is definitely... Oh, Cole has spun it again. What's happening down here for Cole? It's not going well. The rear end sliding around.
He's probably overheated the tyres, I reckon, if that that's the case. It certainly sounds like a case of overheating, especially if he's finding it hard to regain control of that car. But interesting for me so far is we've still got a grid of 15 cars all within DRS each other. That looks to be a move slightly further down. Where was that? I think I may have just missed it. I think it was one of the... It looked like pass going for a move, but I think it just clipped out of my view just then, so I'm not too sure what it was, but there you go. It might have been actually maybe it was the Alfa Romeo on the Red Bull, but he's lined up nicely, and Abasha's actually got the move down into turn 1. Is that Snipes taking opportune? He is. He's also got past Lap Bus. Made the move stick so far as well, and Rob Kelly's getting in on the fray. Here we go. This could be it. Maybe three wide down towards turn 4. It's not going to happen on this occasion.
Oh.
Rob goes for a move up the inside. He saw a gap. He's gonna make it stick. Is he? No, not quite. Snipes has managed to hold off. The reigning champion managed to keep it round the outside, kept his cool. And although Rob really snatched at the opportunity that presented itself, you know, Snipes left the door open clearly enough for Rob to get the car in there. But he kept his cool and he kept it round the outside and keeps the position as well. Brilliant racing from the two of them.
Yeah, it was nice to see them going side by side. I think Rob, Snipes went a little bit deep into turn 4. Rob saw that and was just able to hook the car up to the apex and just find a little nose down the inside, but didn't want to risk that front wing as they ran downhill through 5, 6 and 7. So stayed in behind, nicely managed from him, and he will go again, I'm sure. Rashim Basha might be a bit of a weak link in the train. Hops as well. Jobbo will be trying to gain onto the back of the Red Bull, but we are starting to see a couple of breaks in the train. They aren't massive, they aren't big. We're looking at less than a tenth of a second, but if a break is there, I can just expand exponentially. You can just start to lose time hand over fist. I don't think Sivertson's going to go for it here on Corey again into turn 1, but this top 4 as well really tightening up. Jobbo, will he have enough of a run here with the DRS towards turn 4? No, he won't have anywhere near enough down there, and there's not going to be any moves in the top 4 either, so we are safe up here for the time being. But we do look like we're going to have to start... the top 4 are going to start to form a wave themselves.
They are. I noticed Hops actually didn't have the DRS down the start-finish straight. I was riding on board to see what this broken link in the chain could be like, and he's now got the red light flashing at the back of his car, so he's going to be down on power and energy as he desperately tries to get back within that DRS zone of the car in front. But it could be to no avail, although he has just dipped under the second once again. So maybe he'll get lucky with it. But yeah, he didn't have the DRS down the start-finish, and I thought that was it because the gap went up to a second and a half by the time we got to the braking zone of turn 1. But he's managed to find some time somewhere, and he's now within that second once again. So he's done well to close that gap back up. So hopefully he can stick within it and recharge that battery, which I'm sure desperately needs it at this point in time.
Another man, though, who's looking very close to that window is Snipes here, who just about weasels his way back inside that 1 second window, but it isn't comfortable. Rob Kelly, I think, is going to have the DRS because he was within a second at the detection point, but Partick isn't in it. As we are on to lap 12, we're getting towards that phase where we're going to have to start thinking about pit stops next 5 laps or so. I think we're going to see most of the field in. Have to see what the medium runners do at the back, Gibson and Willow being 2 of them, particularly Gibson actually, because he's already come into the pit lane. How much of an undercut can he get? Big battling going on between Ashim Basha and Partick. Basha to the inside and gets that move done. There's now a big hole in this train between Basha and Delta. 2 seconds now is the gap. It's gone from 1 to 2 in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, that will be what happens when you fight side by side with somebody else. You get off the racing line the optimal way around the circuit, and he just bleeds lap time as you do so. So, yeah, that's not what Asim Basha's wanted, and that's going to be a very, very tall order to see if he can close that gap back up. But this may be the point now, as you say, the broken links in the chain, and I think that could be one that has formed right there. So, and funnily enough, that is for the last point. Well, it would be the last point. Are we doing the same as last season, down to 15, is it, Dara?
No, I think... Oh, no, you've called into question. I remember there being a conversation about this. I remember there being a conversation. I can't remember what the outcome was.
Maybe I'll let you look it up and I'll carry on. How about
that? Yes,
that?
please.
Well, for the minute then, we'll say that Basher is in the final point scoring position, but being that he has now dropped off the back, it could be that he will then struggle to hold on to it as Jobbo is making a move on Hops there for P5. I think he's going to have the move done down in towards turn 1. B Ford hot on the heels of these two. Will he now have an opportunity to maybe get a move done? DRS will be an activation for all of them, but don't count out Jordan behind either. He's very close in this battle as well. For the time being though, it's just going to be Jobbo gaining that position on Hops for P5. Let's see if Jobbo can make any indent into that lead 4 as the two Alpines, the Ferrari and Corey in that Aston Martin really are dominating the front positions of this race at the moment, but maybe Jobbo can change that as he has found his way past the Red Bull. So good move, well done to him. B Ford biding his time along with the Haas there of Jordan, and I'm going to give big props here to Delta actually in the Aston Martin. I believe he started way down. Where was he? About 19th or something like that. He was way down the field. He's found himself up into P9. So he's had an absolute belter of a start. You know what? I'm not gonna spitball it. I'm gonna double check what I'm saying. He's gained 7 positions. There we go. So P16 then he started from. But even so, that's still a good jump of positions there for him. And he's making good use of the start that he has had. So he's well within the hunt for some good points this evening. So well done to Delta. And hopefully he'll keep it up throughout. I'm sure he will. The standard and the quality of these drivers are on another level. They're so consistent, and you can see that from the lap times and the gaps between all of the drivers. They're so similarly paced that it's hard to differentiate one from another. And yeah, it does mean that the racing action is very close throughout, up and down, but it can also mean it's fairly difficult to overtake each other. But that's where that DRS comes into play once again. So I'll see if Dara, have you found out what the verdict was on the point situation?
No, but I can't find it anyway. So I think we've gone back to top 10. If actually, I think I might have found the channel. Let me just double check. And I've just seen that we're gonna take you through Division 1, me and you. I didn't know that bit. Glad that's the case.
You mean Division 1? Did you not know?
No.
That was a big announcement at the start of the year, Dara. I'm very hurt. You had no idea it was you and me for Div 1. Can't believe it.
No, I knew. I saw it, but I'm just trying to find it again. Oh, Atom's actually messaged me. Atom will have the answer, and Atom's answer is points go down to 15th. So it's
15th
still Gibson.
Remains.
Yeah, so Gibson is in the points. Corey is on to
Okay.
25, then it's 20, 16, 13, 11, and then 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All the way down. So let's for winner's bonus. Then in normal
Oh,
one
we've got some
point
movement for the
systems.
pits. Who's that jumping in? I think Pops is the
Ooh.
first one, followed by B Ford.
And Delta.
And Delta has also decided to jump on in as well. So 3 have jumped into the pits there. These are going to be the first ones then to switch on to that. I'm assuming it's going to be the medium tyre. If it isn't, I'd be very, very surprised. So yeah, now we could finally see some action maybe. Not that there hasn't been any, but this could shake things up as we have got the first ones in. And we'll wonder who's going to be the first to react to that. I wonder, Dara.
And it's going to be to see how big the undercut is, just in general, for these guys. How many positions can they gain? Can they somehow put themselves at the front of the field? I mean, definitely, if it's a 2-lap undercut, I have no doubt they will be the leading 3, but it just depends on whether Corey, Sivertson, Kant still are back, so they react this lap, or whether they give it an extra one, but I expect that they will probably react this lap. If we have a look at some of the ERS usage from these guys, they're not spending it too much on what could be a possible in-lap, but this top 5 is away a little bit from Jordan, of course, who was behind a couple of those guys who pit. He's become a little bit detached. I think it'd be very good for him to pit this lap, because of course he won't have the DRS down towards turn 1 and will lose even more time. But let's see what they do. when they come into the pit lane. Corey through the final corner. Will he dive in? Let's see. In his Aston Martin car. He'd have to go in very late and doesn't go in. Sivertson goes in. And then a few of them, so everyone apart from Const and Corey, effectively, long and short of that, have come in. And then it's the next three. Rob Kelly will come in. He might be able to jump his way up a few more positions as well. But this is where we're going to see the undercut from Hops, from Welsh Jack. They're coming out of the final corner now. Slapboss retires. That's in the pit lane, so that is fine.
He's in the pits. It's okay.
Yes, there won't be a safety car. Let's see. Hops and B4. Can B4 get past Hops? I think he can, and he will, and he will come out right alongside, it seems. Oh, the Red Bull of Hops, and Sivertson is just there as well on cold tyres. It'll be the DRS for both B4 and Hops as they come up the hill towards turn 4, and I think B4 has the measure of Hops here. Does Delta have the same? Around the outside, it'd be a Teflon nearly wiped out B4, but just about doesn't. Has to stop back into line. But B4 right behind Sivertson, who will be your net race leader.
Yeah, he needed to do that then, B Ford. He didn't want to be stuck behind Hops any longer than he had to be. And like you say, now he's right onto the back of that Ferrari, which you will presume will be the net race leader when we come back and everyone has filtered out from their pit stop. So that's huge for B Ford, as that's a big jump up if it is the case of what we are saying is correct. So, no, that's huge for him there. That's brilliantly well done. So, yeah, I will say back to the Alpine of Kontz and Baxter. Obviously, both of them couldn't go in there. Otherwise, they would have been massively held up, one of them. Whoever it was behind. So, it makes sense that that is the case. And that's huge. Corey, 5-second penalty, speeding in the pit lane.
And it's the most unforced error that you can do in terms of picking up a penalty. It's a 5-second in a big long train that could drop you from the lead all the way down to the back of the field. But here comes Sivertson on Welsh Jack, who of course hasn't hit. I think B4 will fly past as well. Oh, I think he's backing off the racing line to let a few of these guys through, but we've got very, very close between some of them there. Sivertson and B4 are ahead of Corey, who's on the inside of the Mercedes driver on soft compound tyres, but he's squirming all over the road. We'll lose out to Hops here. Willie on the inside, his teammate Delta. Oh no! Big crash! That's a safety car.
Oh, they're both gone. Oh, and just like that, I'm looking at it, that's a safety car. Snipes, look at him, he's in P2. Snipes has found himself all the way up in P2. He's got a safety car.
But he's got a
He's
pit.
going to filter out. You would I know he's got a pit, Dara, but you would imagine at this reduced pace and slower speed, the gap between him and Gibson alone is 7 seconds. So you've got to argue he's going to come out near this battle for the lead. I'm going to guess he's going to come out around about Delta and Baxter, somewhere around there, 7th or 8th. But that gives him a good shout and chance at fighting for the win here this evening. So just like that, his luck has changed, and Snipes now could be within a shout of the win of this race.
Yeah, absolutely. But also, it gives Welsh Jack an opportunity as well to come into the pit lane and just filter towards the back, but still be in the race.
It does.
I don't think Hops or Corey will be happy with each other. I'll just have a quick look at the Division 1 chat to see if anything happens. No.
Really off topic. Can I be added back to that chat?
The Division 1 chat? You're not in it?
Yeah, apparently I'm not in it anymore. I'm not in any of them anymore.
Oh.
For some unknown reason, but there we are. It's not the end of the world.
Where are you? There you
fine.
are. I'll add you in as Division 1. There you go. You'll be able to see everything now.
Oh, lovely. Thank you very much.
But yes. Hops was saying that Corey didn't want to be overtaken, so I think he might submit that one in. But Corey's typing. So we'll,
yeah, I can completely understand the thought process there, but you know, he's saying I mean, he's saying he can't drive straight. We need to see it from a different point of view, but from what I could see, there shouldn't really be any incidences in that situation. You're on a straight, and you know, I can understand being close side by side. Obviously, you know, you get net code with these kind of things as well, but you know, it shouldn't be happening, especially at this higher level, high standard, is what I will call it, because they should be driving to what would be almost the utmost highest standards. You know, these guys consider themselves e-sport drivers nearly, and if they want to keep going further and up towards that esports bracket, you know, not that that's going on anymore, but either way, you know, you've got to hold yourself to the highest of standards. So things like that really shouldn't be happening at this level. So it's a shame to see, and we've lost 2 good quick drivers from this race as well because of it. So it's definitely shaken things up somewhat.
Yeah, I mean, you always have a problem with um, standards. That's what I'm looking for. Wherever you are, but it's more of a shame, really, when you get higher up, just to see crashes, because unnecessary crashes. But yeah, it's a shame, but it means that we've still got 15 drivers. If everyone finishes, they'll all score, and you know it's a bit of a dash to the end now. I mean, you've got Willow on soft tyres, you've got and you've got everyone else on mediums. But you're right, you've got Snipes and Partick and 8th and 9th on fresh mediums, fresher compared to anybody else. Rob Kelly, I think he pit again to go onto another set of medium tyres. He's in P14. We'll see what he can do from there, but. One more lap of safety car, and I think then we will be back in again, and it'll be a 10-lap sprint to the end. Asheen Basher, oh no, is it Gibson? Gibson's coming in again.
And someone's dived in.
Yeah, Gibson. But yeah, one more lap of safety car, and then we'll have 10 laps to the end to decide who wins the opener of the season.
I picked him up earlier. I'm going to do it again. Delta, he's in 3rd. He's 13 positions up from his starting spot. And he's there legitly on merit, and he's on a good compounder tyre on the same sort of lap number as the guys around him, which is an incredible drive so far. And with 10 laps remaining, if he can hold that out and continue that form, that's a fantastic start to the season for him, it must be said. And now that his teammate is unable to finish, you know, he's bringing home some good points for the team, for that constructors, and you know, points early on in the season still count, regardless of where you finish. You know, points will be points, and they all add up in the end. So, you know, if he can bring it home, even if he brings it home 3rd, that's a brilliant start for him and for Aston Martin as well.
Oh, absolutely, and it'll be what we will try and what he will try and build on, I should say, throughout the rest of the season. But for now, you just got to try and get the result, get the points on the board for the end of the race. Dylan Baxter and Conts are swapping positions. Not too sure why, but they've done that. But Sivertsen will lead us away. I'm thinking at the end of this lap, we'll get confirmation of that shortly. If that is the case, I don't know why Gibson's going slow. There we go.
It's a bit late.
In this
it's there.
It's a bit late, but I've seen later.
That's true.
I mean,
Sivertsen then will take over as
Suzuka.
Yeah.
Suzuka, you sometimes see it through the final couple of corners. The safety car will say that it's coming in, and that is a real late call. But Sivertsen's going to have to wait until after the final corner, because the safety car isn't yet in the pit lane, but now it is, so he can go whenever he so desires, and he goes now. Puts his foot down, we are back underway. B Ford is the one trailing him into the pit lane, coming Jordan. Not too sure why, must have been contact just as they were getting underway once again, but Sivertsen looks safe for the lead as they run into turn 1 once again on this safety car restart. The 2 Alpines going side by side as we see Jobbo and Conts. Jobbo coming through. Jordan retiring in the pit lane, yeah. And Partick's going to try and come around the outside here of Conts as well and jump himself up into P6 around the outside. Could he do it here on the Alpine? It's a very tight line there for Conts and Partick. Tiptoe dances around the outside, and here comes the reigning champion, Snipes. He can't quite find the line to the inside of the downhill, 5, 6, 7, but it's a good restart for Sivertsen as we now have 9.5 laps to go. Snipes, bit of contact with Conts as he sends it to the inside of 9. Bigger contact between Willow and Welsh Jack, and Rob Kelly's going to say thank you guys. I'll pick up both of those positions, but Willow back to the inside. Oh, there's bigger contact there, but Rob takes the position back again.
Fantastic racing from all 4 of them. Conts has really been caught napping at the start of this safety car restart. He's dropped from, I think it was about 4th on the field. Now he's down in 7th, and somewhat still is under threat from the reigning world champion. And Rob there picking up the pieces from what was left, but he's gained a couple of positions at this restart as well. So good racing from them up and down the field. But look at that, Sivertsen, he's now managed to pull out a second over B Ford. And I wonder if he can keep extending that as we go deeper into the closing stages of this Grand Prix. But that's big there, 1 second gap after the restart. Now he's going to want to try and eke that out as best he can, otherwise Beeford will be certainly under threat from the guys behind. But they now come down to turn 1. Const's trying to get a move on Snipes, tried to hold it round the outside. I think Snipes, oh, there's contact! Const is round, he's facing the wrong way, and he's now going to be at the back of the field.
He is.
A little bit of contact there between them, but yeah, it's hard to say on that one. But Snipes through in 7th.
And now it's interesting because Partick, Snipes and Rob are all on the same age of tyre. 3 laps softer, or fresher I should say, than Beeford and Delta. So they are on the nicest tyres as Constant tyres on track. I don't think the stewards will take too kindly to that one. But we'll have to see if these guys can move up a little bit more. Willow's on those soft tyres. You'd have thought they'd be very quick. But with every passing corner, they lose a little bit of their edge compared to those medium tyres. So he's got to get the move done as soon as possible. So we'll just have to see. Sivitson, B4, 1 and 2, but he really is gaining away, isn't he? The Ferrari driver. Delta isn't too far back either. Dylan Baxter, Jobbo and Partick are still in there, but the podium's anyone's game at the moment.
Yeah, it is. I think Sivitson may have the pace on the guys behind. He's now he's still over that 2nd mark, and I think now it's going to be B Ford will not get the DRS on the start-finish straight. I'm pretty certain that's going to be the case. That does then enable Delta behind. DRS now finally enabled, actually, so he wouldn't have had it anyway before. But DRS finally enabled. So the important thing for the Sivitson there is he has got the gap, but it is hovering still around that 2nd mark. So it will be interesting to see. As I think Partick tried to make a move on Jobbo there. Jobbo just holding out for the time being, but the threat is looming large behind him. Is that Haas? DRS open? He's just going to have to settle in behind for another lap for the time being, but hot on the heels is the reigning world champion of Snipes, and not far behind him is little old Rob in that Mercedes, and he seems to be picking up some positions quite nicely at this restart, picking up all the pieces of everyone else, but he has got Willow hot on his heels as well. But those soft tyres, I can't imagine they'll go much longer.
No, and I mean, I stay on the car. He's not going to get to puncture territory, but it's because they're not going to be as effective. They're going to be a little bit tired, a little bit warm, maybe a little bit warm as well, which is just going to compound all the misery. But we'll have to see how he can cope with these aging tyres. Up 22 or 29 means we'll have 7 to go at the end of this one. But it is still close, isn't it, between the top 3? I mean, the top 13 in general, to be honest, isn't it? They're all in a line. DRS will be enabled this lap. Or is it enabled this lap? Oh, it was last lap, so they'll have it this lap. There we go. That's
They'll
what
have
I mean.
it already.
Yeah, they'll have it down towards turn 1 for the first time after the restart. We'll have to see if that makes any difference here, as Rob Kelly's going to gain to the back of Snipes. A little bit of ERS use. He's going to have to be forced to the outside, but goes to the inside, finds the line, and Willow's going to have a great view of this one. He's going to try and come around the outside of Rob. That's a dangerous place to be. Pinched up on the inside of turn 2, and he nearly comes a cropper to it, but here comes Welsh Jack, the man whose wheel wasn't working earlier on. He's now back inside the top 9.
Yeah, it's a good comeback. Willow's going to try and hold it strong around the outside. Just doesn't quite have the grip, though. Welsh Jack takes P9 away from him. And I think those soft tyres are just going to get harder and harder to race on. He's squirming all over the place, is Willow. And I bet he's thinking to himself, he's made the mistake of hitting that, putting on that soft tyre, actually. So, yeah, I don't think he's very happy at this present moment, but he made the decision. And he's going to be the one to sort of suffer for it, if you think about it. But yeah, brilliant stuff from Welsh Jack there. Took full advantage and opportunity of what was in front of him. And I feel this is very much going to be the story coming up to the checkered flag. Is, you know, any chance that you can get from the mistakes up in front of you is going to be where positions are going to be gained and had. That's normally how racing is, but it's especially in the closing stages of one. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out as we go into the final closing stages. Just on board here with Partick, right up behind Jobbo in that McLaren. Little squirrely there on the exit of 15 down to the start-finish straight, but they'll all have that DRS. And I think, is that Delta? That's the McLaren. That's the Alpine. Sorry, a Baxter trying to go up the inside of Delta into turn 1. They're side by side through this first complex of corners, as Delta tries to fight it back aggressively as he can, but keeping it within the rules. And I think Baxter has actually managed to pull the move off. He has. He's now confirmed the move, and he now sits P3 and is on the podium. Delta relegated to P4, and he's still under threat from Jobbo behind.
Yeah, they'll continue on as well, but it was a good move there. I mean, it was a little bit of contact between Delta and Dylan, but it's so difficult to go side by side through there without making a little bit of contact, and it was all within the rules. There was nothing wrong there, realistically.
Oh, what a move from Partick!
I just saw that.
What a fantastic move!
I just saw that in the background as I was on the off-board shot down his turn 10, but I didn't think it was scarcely believable. But he's made that one stick for P5 now. Snipes is on the back of Jobbo. Will Jobbo let his teammate through? Of course, Jobbo is the team owner down at McLaren Mercedes. But we'll have to see if he lets his teammate through. I wonder if he will. He might not, but there's an option there open to him. And he will. There he goes. He'll let through Snipes, his champion teammate. But now Welsh Jack is going to be right on the tail of Jobbo, so we'll have to see if he can do anything to try and spoil the Jobbo party as they run through with 5 laps to go now.
Yeah, he's gaining down the start-finish straight. He's going to push Welsh Jack probably as far right as he can. And he's just about going to get alongside. Jack's going to go to the inside line. I think he may have this move done fairly easily. He certainly looks to have, and yeah, Welsh Jack then, P7, he'll go chasing after the reigning champion, but he still hasn't confirmed it just yet. Jobbo tries to fight back, he'll have to go the long way round through turn 4, doesn't quite have the grip to do it either, so no, Welsh Jack P7, and Rob may be sniffing at P8, as Jobbo has been off the racing line, you would argue, so he's going to lose a little bit of speed. I think he had a big enough gap from him to Rob. So for the time being, then Jobbo will stick in P8. But I was riding on board with Partick for that move, and what a move it was last lap around. So you can expect to see that in the chat later on, because yeah, that was fantastic to watch.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? But there's an opportunity for a couple more good moves here. Welsh Jack on Snipes could be an interesting one. Of course, these two teammates last season, they took home the Constructors' crown, but now in very different colours now, orange and navy blue, as they run their way down towards the final corner. There will be 4 laps to go for Sivertson to hold on from Beeford and Dylan Baxter, but everyone is piling on the pressure. Sivertson, this is his debut race in Division 1 at least, so he's doing incredibly well at the moment. Beeford, the most, one of, if not the most experienced, I should say, head in this field, and he's going to take the lead down towards turn 1. Nothing that Sivertson can really do. Partick looked for it on Delta, but wasn't going to make it. Rob Kelly has made it through on Jobbo, and they're going to be in the party together, so they'll be talking about that one. I'm sure Rob will be giving some stick to Jobbo, but he's now up into P8. Jobbo slipping back on those older medium tyres. Could that be a sight of things to come between Partick and Delta here?
It certainly could be. Partick was looking very racy on Delta. He was weaving in his wing mirrors, was he, saying, I am here, I do want that position. So I think you could be right, though. This could be a sign of things to come as the laps wear on. The guys on that slightly older set of tyres could become more vulnerable, particularly in the final 2 laps. So yeah, I don't think this is over yet, Darryl. I think we've still got moves to be made for sure. They're all still within, nose to tail, within a second of each other. DRS will help them all along. And yeah, everyone's going to be fighting for every position they can get and take. So yeah, things are not done by any stretch of the imagination. And those on the slightly older tyres could become very much under threat.
Yeah, incredibly under threat. We'll have to see how they can cope in the last 3 laps. Time is fading, though, on this opening race. What will they do? How will they play this? We're going to have to wait and find out as we run down towards turn 1 once again. Sivertson, he's got a run here on B-Ford, and so is Dylan Baxter, but Dylan Baxter backs out after he sees the side-by-side moment, but Sivertson slides his rear end through turn 1. B-Ford is going to have a bit of an initiative up towards turn 4. ERS, DRS, thank you very much, I'll retake the lead, and I'll try and pull away this time around. Delta can't quite find his way past Dylan Baxter for P3, but it's pretty much as you were, even though there's a couple of moves for the lead, a give and take between B-Ford and Sivertson, but at the moment, B-Ford leads, 2.5 to go.
Yeah, holding station for the time being. I'm expecting these next few laps to come to be real hectic and wild. So we'll see how they do pan out. I'm looking forward to it very much. But yeah, Right, I was riding on board with Baxter to watch the fight up in front between Beeford and Sivertson. And yeah, Beeford took it very comfortably, got the better traction out of the first sort of corners, and easily retook that P1 away from Sivertson, who did his best to try and take it back. But for the time being, everything holds station as it was. So we ride on board and wait for the next lap to come around, because I don't think there's really any opportunity for the guys to get some moves in these next sets of corners. Not saying it couldn't happen, because we certainly know it can, but it's very difficult to do so. I have just realised Rob Kelly, he's got that little red light flashing on the back of his car, and he's actually dropped with out of the second from Jack up in front, so Rob could become quite vulnerable to the guys behind. Particularly, he doesn't have the DRS and that light is flashing, so it could get very tricky for him now in these closing laps.
It could get very tricky, and it's very tricky to tell when there's front wing gone. A little bit of front wing gone from Welsh Jack, I think that is, as they bump their way through turn 1. I think he hit the back of Snipes there, and yes, he's missing an end plate. His front left end plate, could that prove costly for him in these closing stages? I've just had a message from Aston to say that actually, T. Sivertson, as Welsh Jack goes wide off the track, and it's such an unlucky moment for Welsh Jack, and he's going to pick up only a few points in the end of this race, but it's going to benefit everyone.
From Rob up the inside
Behind
Snipes. What a move! Caught him very off guard. I'm sorry to jump.
No, don't worry.
But absolutely on the reigning champion, caught him napping down towards that hairpin of turn 8. And what a move that was, taking full advantage of the opportunity that lay before him, and he takes P6 away from that McLaren driver.
Oh, and Snipes goes, well, I think Snipes has damage here. Snipes must have some damage after the contact before, unless he's just gone very wide. No, he's definitely got damage. You can see, slow through turn 13, as we'll only have one more lap to go in just a second. But Rob Kelly's up to 6th, as we just said. No, what I was going to mention is Atom has just told me that Sivertson is actually Torpen, if you remember from last season. But that's obviously a name change. But that's Torpen doing well up at the front. Wide from Snipes is going to drop right down to the back. What can Sivertson do? Is he going to take the lead down towards turn 1? He's going to try and hold back. Dylan Baxter is going to watch this one and try and pick his way through. It's deep from Beeford in turn 1. It's a rare error from the one-time champion from season 3, and he'll have to defend like his heart is like his life depends on it. Oh my word, they're so close to the inside down towards turn 4. Beeford wasn't going to allow the inside line to Sivertson as they now run their way through turn 4. Sivertson around the outside is trying to dance there, but Beeford inside will have the inside line for 5 and 6. But this battle will continue. Will there be ascend into turn 8? Don't count out Delta for a podium here. Around the outside goes Sivertson on Beeford, but it won't work out. Just about a little bit of contact, but it's no harm done there between those two. Jobbo and Rob Kelly and all of that have been fighting. And down the inside from Sivertson again. Turn 10. Beeford around the outside. He just about keeps his foot in, keeps the position, but the DRS will be in favour of Sivertson. Will he go to the inside? The outside is going to have to go to the outside here at turn 11. And I don't know if this one's going to work out. He's going to be all over the exit curb. He'll have an inside line for turn 12. There's contact. There is a little bit of contact there. Massive contact then. Oh no! And Dylan Baxter hits him round, and there goes. He goes off the track. Then Delta comes through. What about Partick? Partick's going to pick up P3 regardless here. Beeford had no part to do in that collision between the two, Dylan Baxter and Sivertson, and he will come around the final corner to start the season in the best way possible. What a final lap this has been. An incredible fight, but it's won by Beeford. Delta and Partick 2 and 3. Jobbo will be 4th. Rob Kelly will be 5th. What a race.
Finish. I told you it was all going to come down to the wire, and it certainly did. It played out exactly as I thought, and my thoughts really do go to Sivertson for that. I don't think he had anything to play with it. Beeford sort of squeezed him all well within the rules and the limits of the circuit, and the way that the corner sort of ended up going, it meant that Sivertson had to take a very tight line. He lost the rear a little bit, and it just meant that I think Baxter actually almost went into the back of him, or maybe there was a tiny bit of contact. I can't say for certain, but what a finisher that was, and what a brilliant result and a brilliant start for Beeford. That's great for him.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous end of the race, but it's a good start to the season for Beeford, as we will go through this order. Beeford, then Delta, Partick, 1, 2, and 3. Jobbo and Rob Kelly in 4th and 5th, but Mercedes starting the season off very strong, as we expected that they would. Willow, Dylan Baxter, and Basher. Snipes and Gibson right out the top 10. Jacob, Siverson, and Welsh Jack pick up a few points, but not as many as they would have liked. Const, Jordan, Hops, Corey, Slapbus, Cole, and Knockup, all didn't finish. Oh, excuse me, but yeah, what a race in the end. And Beeford wins from 11th, Delta second from 16th, and Partick third from 17th. Three of the bottom 5 in qualifying are in the top 5 at the end of the race, which is absolutely ridiculous. Only one of the top 5 on the grid finished inside the top 11, which just shows how crazy it was. I'm going to try and invite Delta and Partick to the party to try and get some interviews going.
I want to talk to Delta and Partick for certain. Insane race from the two of them. I had no idea Partick started in 17th, in all honesty. So to see him on the podium, I knew Delta was doing incredibly well all race. And I mean, credit the Beeford, 11th to 1st as well. But yeah, the top 3, who would have thought it? The top 3 would have started outside the top 10. You couldn't have really scripted it even if you tried, could you?
No, what a race it was in the end. I mean, a fantastic display from all of these guys. And I mean, there were some unfortunate moments in there, but overall, it's a fantastic race to kick off the season. We'll see if Beeford is going to join. I'm just having a look through the chat. And everyone's being very kind to each other, it seems. So
Detect a hint of sarcasm in that.
a little bit of sarcasm. I don't think everyone's too happy. But yeah, yeah. That's my assessment of what of the chat. I'm gonna try and invite Beeford again if he's not here. I don't actually know if he's here because I haven't checked. He's not here. I can tell you that for sure. I'll try it one more time. But while I do, actually, do you want to interview our P3 and our P2 drivers?
Yeah, sure, I'll give it a go. Well done there, boys. That was a brilliant race from the two of you. 16th and 17th on the starting grid, and you finished 2nd and 3rd by the time that checkered flag fell. I mean, what was the initial sort of strategy, I think? I guess we'll come to you first, Partick, as you finished 3rd there. But what was the sort of initial strategy? Was it very much just following what everyone else was doing, or was there something you had in mind in particular?
Uh, yeah, the strategy was going as long as possible on the hards and then maybe try to hunt down everyone else with the fresher tires because I was already undercut, so there was no point reacting to it already. Then I got a bit lucky with the safety car, but then I was just biding my time, you know. I didn't try to force anything really silly, and it worked
No.
in the end.
I was going to say the safety car was perfectly timed for you. I think you were you even leading the Grand Prix at that point when it
Yeah,
came out, and I saw I think it was you and Snipes at the time, and I was saying to Dara how fortunate that's played into your hands because it really did. So no, a bit of luck, but you were there to be. You have to be in it to win it, and you certainly were in it. So you did very well. So congratulations on your P3. But yeah, the strategy played out quite nicely for you there in the
thank you.
end. You're welcome. And then Delta, I was actually giving props to you throughout because by the midway point you'd already made your way up to sort of P9ish, sort of dabbling in the top 10. What happened at the start? Because I don't think we were sort of on board with you to see what went on exactly. So how did the start of the race go for you, or how did you feel about it?
Well, we just, we got a good initial getaway. We made a few places and we saw the crash up ahead, so that really helped us out. But we were just trying to get a few moves off at the start because I'm not that good at quality, it seems like, and just slowly make our way through and make sure that we're at least in the lead train, even if it's at the back of it, which worked. And so we decided to just go for the undercut, and we made up quite a few places, even though the safety car came out. I knew like Partick and I think it was Snipes as well. You said they would have the fresher tires at the end, but around Bahrain, 2 laps fresher tires doesn't do an amazing amount. So as long as I just stayed with the front runners, we were fine. We got a bit lucky on that last lap. Somehow got P2 after that contact. But yeah, good race, good race.
Yeah, no, brilliant race from both of you. So no, well done to you, Partick, and to you, Delta. That was brilliant. Have we? Are you ready, Darren?
I think I'm ready, but I've just
Or shall I
sent
conjure up
another
another
invite.
question?
I think Beefle might join now because he said 1 sec, and I've given him another invite like he asked for. But I mean, both of you, Parzik, first of all, very quickly. Next week, of course, we're heading to Singapore. You looking forward to that one?
Yeah, I mean, if I get a seat, then yes.
That's true.
Because yeah, of course I haven't been drafted. So any team honors out there, I just got a podium. If you didn't notice, so yeah, yeah, I'm looking forward to Singapore. I mean, I'm not particularly fast at the track, but I quite like it.
And you, Delta?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's one of my favorite tracks, but again, got horrible quali pace on this game, so just relying on the race really.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter as it seems for both of us.
Yeah.
And it's a long race too, isn't it? I mean, it's nearly, and it's going to be nearly an hour. Like it's the longest race on the game to the 50% and to 100%, obviously. But it's a bit of a slog. But good luck to both of you for doing it. Beefle can't join, but he's just sent me a one line that I can read out. He says, "Happy to win, and Atom likes sheep." So read into that what you will. But on that note, we will say thank you to everyone who's watched. Thank you to Ashley for joining me. Thank you for the two of you for joining, and well done. And we will be back next week in Singapore in 7 days' time for the second round of Season 5 of GRL. But between now and then, we enjoy the rest of your week, and we will see you when GRL returns in 7 days' time.